live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of 2026 Offseason Grades. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and on today's episode of Lounge Time, we are going to be going over the Atlanta Falcons offseason grade. I am pleased to be joined by my guest in studio, Vin.
Rich,
what's up, buddy?
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Vin is now with our third episode of the offseason grade series. He's been a great, helpful contributor to the series for some teams, and we have another one that we'll have him do as well coming out this week. But without further ado, let's get into the Atlanta Falcons 2026 offseason. Out, Raheem Morris goes as head coach. Kevin Stefanski moves from the Browns to the NFC in Atlanta.
Yep.
And arguably, this was the second best head coaching signing of the cycle.
I would say so.
And we haven't done that with a team yet, but it will be a team down the road. John Harbaugh with the Giants was probably number one on a lot of people's rankings. Yeah. But Kevin Stefanski now takes over in Atlanta, trying to get back to first place in that division since 2016.
Wow.
And that's been a while. 10 years ago was the last time the Falcons won a division title. Now, before we ask you the questions on everything, let's go over Atlanta's free agency moves, extensions.
Mm-hmm.
Number one was they did away with Darnell Mooney.
Yep.
He's gone. They went the route of they're going to keep Jahan Dotson.
Mm-hmm.
They kept linebacker Christian Harris, not the Alabama Christian Harris, who's a pro. Tua Tagovailoa to a 1-year contract to give Michael Penix
some
competition.
Yeah, some competition.
And a healthy backup. Yeah. Samson Ebukam to a contract they signed in free agency. Deshaun Hand as a defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
Azeez Ojulari, so to boost their edge group. Olamide Zaccheaus, I know that name's familiar, from the Washington Commanders. They traded for safety Sidney Brown from the Eagles, and it was a bunch of like 4th-round draft pick swaps and 6th-round pick 2027 slots. Brian Robinson Jr., backup running back over there, or third-string running back.
Yep.
They gave they exercised a 5th-year option on Bijan Robinson, signed Jawan Taylor at tackle from the Chiefs, who moved on from Kansas City. And Caleb McGarry retired, one of their big tackles they've had over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go into the latest extension real quick, which was they extended guard Matthew Bergeron to a 4-year, $96 million extension yesterday, which was big as well.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to their draft class, and as I'm pulling it up now, they did not have a first-round pick in 2026 because of the James Pierce Jr. trade, a la with the Rams, because the Rams moved back later in the 2025 draft, got an additional first-rounder, which Atlanta did not have in 2026 draft. Atlanta used that pick on James Pierce last year. So their first pick in this year's draft was cornerback Avion Terrell from Clemson. In the 3rd round, Zachariah Branch, and then Kendall Daniels from Oklahoma, the linebacker/safety, a 6'5" safety linebacker prototype from Oklahoma. And then Harold Perkins Jr., the linebacker from LSU, who sneaky might be a really good pick in the 6th round.
That was a pretty solid pick.
Yeah. So looking at this Falcons offseason, they also extended Drake London, which is important. I forgot to mention that as well. And Kyle Pitts. Also, those were 2 big extensions. Did you think Atlanta did what they had to do as far as balancing, keeping some of their guys that have been big contributors like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, but also filling the pieces that they had to do? And we'll go over more in
Yeah.
the depth chart, but did you feel like they filled enough pieces?
I think they did. I think they did a pretty good job of retaining their star players. That offense is easily, if they run the right way, it can easily be a top 5 offense. I would say they plugged some key pieces, like you said before, just kind of adding depth to that. Obviously, the Tua with Penix. I know the whole Kirk Cousins and Penix thing was a disaster. So maybe, hopefully, with Penix under, I guess, the center now, it being the true starter and no outside noise. Hopefully, I haven't really heard of Tua making big strides in practice, to be honest with you. So I guess Penix is good to go, but I think they did a pretty good solid job, of kind of just keeping their core guys and adding something a little bit extra as well.
I think there's one need that I say to myself, why didn't they go after this more? And I'm looking at their draft, and I like Zachariah Branch from Georgia, but to me, it feels like it's, okay, let's rely heavy on Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London staying healthy. And then I look at the depth outside of those three at wide receiver and go, who is your number 2? Because you have to be certain. Teams are double teaming Drake London this year. It's going to happen. I know Drake London is really good. I saw him almost destroy my Patriots single-handedly at times. Okay? He's going to get doubled this year a lot more than he did last year. And there's no 2 that makes me go, all right, now Drake London's dictating coverage. I don't know if that number 2, number 3 option can get open consistently and be a reliable target in that passing game. But then again, you've got 2 quarterbacks in Penix and Tua, both lefties, and that play the exact same way. Like, they both check it down. I say Penix has slightly the better arm over Tua, not much better. But I think this is a system where, again, both guys are learning a new coach's system. None of them have been used to Kevin Stefanski's offense, which has mostly been a run first, dating back to his time in Cleveland. So Bijan Robinson, he's gonna eat again. But now it's, can that quarterback play be good enough
if they stop the run, basically? Which
we'll get into more with the roster. But I look at this roster and go, this defense is not as bad as people think. It's like, it's a solid group. But I just wonder, who is that second, third option in case teams dictate, we're going to double team Drake London. Some matchups may have a linebacker that can cover with Kyle Pitts, even though Kyle Pitts is 6'6".
Yeah, he's a freak.
And there's not many of those big linebackers that can cover him, but some teams will decide, okay, we're going to take away Drake London this game, or we're going to take away Kyle Pitts, depending on matchups. I just don't think they have a number 2 or 3 that I go, okay, that guy can make plays for them when teams take away them. And then Bijan Robinson will be every defense's focus on the point of attack, which will definitely be the case, especially with Stefanski's run-heavy system. So that's my biggest issue with the roster itself heading into 2026. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they took away, or maybe not take away, but Darnell Mooney's no longer there. He was the number 2, so, I mean, who's going to be that other person when the star players are covered or they're just not hitting their strides during the game? So you can't just rely on 3 people, but, I mean, they are really good at their positions, but we'll see what happens during the season for sure.
Yeah, and again, like I mentioned with the Washington Commanders, there's still some good quality number 2s that I think would produce in this offense. Now, are they the best fit ideally? Maybe not as much. Like, Stephon Diggs is still out there. Tyreek Hill is still out there. Deebo Samuel just got signed from got back to the Niners, which I don't think would have been the best fit, but he would have been a decent number 2.
Somewhere.
But, again, I don't think either Tyreek or Diggs, I don't even think Deebo is a better fit for this group. But I'm just saying there's still quality options if they need somebody to bring in camp to just give them a look. But I don't think they want to do that.
I know, like, looking at this receiver group right now, dude, it's Drake London and Jahan Dotson. That's literally it.
Olamide Zaccheaus is your 3, and then Zachariah Branch is your 4, which I like Zachariah Branch. I think he's going to find his way into the starting lineup next year at least. He should be in this year, really. But let's go into this.
Let's go for it.
So this offense is, we're going to spend a lot of our time with the quarterback competition in a moment. But aside from the quarterback competition, skill group wise and offensive line wise, this reminds me a lot of what Tampa Bay was before Tom Brady, in a sense where you got skill positions that are really good, elite. Tampa Bay had Chris Godwin. They had
Mike Evans,
They
obviously.
had Mike Evans, they had O.J. Howard at times, and then I think O.J. Howard was gone that first
I thought,
Brady year. Okay, but they had a decent offensive line where they drafted Tristan Wirfs. In that same draft, they brought Brady to Tampa. Okay, and then what Tampa did in that offseason was let's add more weapons around Tom Brady. But Atlanta right now has a top 2, 3, maybe the best running back in football, Bijan Robinson, a top 10 receiver in Drake London. Okay, Kyle Pitts is somewhere north of that 8 to 12 range at tight end. Like
he's starting to pick up. The
Yeah.
first couple of years has been
it wasn't great.
No, it was shaky.
And that offensive line is above average. Like, they're going to top out of the
They
league.
are for sure.
But my thing is, how is it like this roster just feels like it's the quarterback problems again? And it reminds me what Tampa was when they had Jameis Winston, and before that it was a carousel of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I remember Josh Freeman being in Tampa. Okay, it was just a carousel of guys that just failed miserably. And this is a big year for Michael Penix going into year 3, where if you don't do well this year, you're not getting your 5th-year option picked up. And Atlanta's got guys in their prime at the best of their position.
I know.
And they feel like they're a quarterback away
They are.
from a winnable division. Everybody is like here in the division. And
I would say you're exactly spot on with that. Literally, it's the quarterback away. Everything, and we just have to see how Penix does this year. That's it. That's really it.
yeah. So I think if I'm looking at a group that, I mean, I look at this group in general, like Jake Matthews, solid left tackle. Not elite,
Yeah,
but he's not
he's
awful.
good.
He's slightly above average at best. And that's where it is.
Yeah.
Jawan Taylor, at least from Kansas City, he's played in a good offense, even though Nagy has contaminated that team. But I'm saving that for the Chiefs. Chris Lindstrom is an elite guard.
Yep.
And then really, Bergeron just got extended, so they really like what they're seeing out of him. Center would be my one little issue on the offensive line. That would be it. But this roster,
It's a solid offense.
I would really say the weakest group outside of quarterback is this wide receiver depth. It just looks absolutely so
I
weak.
know, but everything is, like you said, above average or superstars in their position.
Yeah.
So they're just the quarterback.
Like Jahan Dotson, he's more of a 3. Like even in Philadelphia, he was a 3.
Yeah, he was a 3.
Okay, Zacchaeus was a 3 on the Commanders at times.
Yep.
Okay, Zachariah Branch, I think, is the guy that can be a 2
He just got to get there.
if he can develop into a good receiver in the pros. Which at Georgia, the ways they used him, they got him on jet sweeps. They had him in the slot. He could run by people.
It was a gadget, basically.
He can be a very dynamic weapon if used in the right packages, ways that Georgia got him involved, and Atlanta can do that with what Stefanski does have in a run-first offense.
Yeah, and I think he can incorporate them pretty good for sure.
Yeah. So let's go to the quarterback competition, because Tua and Michael Penix. Tua on a 1-year deal, trying to prove to teams he is not
still
going
got
to
it.
be. He's not trying to be a career backup.
No.
He's trying to be a starter for somebody in this league, like Will Levis is trying to do with the Titans, even though that's tough to beat out Cam Ward there. But Tua's in the same boat where he's trying to fight to make a starting job.
Yeah.
Where teams with quarterback holes. Penix is entering a critical year 3 in his rookie contract because he's trying to prove he's the face of the franchise. Who do you feel like ends up winning this battle heading into week 1? I know it's difficult because it's not a team you're used to, but if you had to guess right now, who do you think the starting quarterback will be week 1?
I think it's going to be Penix just because he's been there. He's 10 years longer there. But the problem is with both of these quarterbacks, they don't beat like playoff caliber teams. Like they haven't proved anything.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they could be good. It's just they haven't proved anything. But I would say week 1, Penix. Like I said, I haven't really heard anything of Tua making any noise in camp, so I'm assuming they're just going to go with the guy that's been there since the jump. So I would say Penix, QB1 for sure, week 1.
I'm going to lean Penix for a different reason. I think that Penix has been injury prone.
He has.
And if he can stay healthy, even last year when he was out a couple of times, he wasn't like it wasn't like he was so bad. Like, yes, the offense wasn't great. And
that team was.
And that offensive coordinator situation in Atlanta, I don't have to count the times I've roasted that offense. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
But at least Stefanski, I have trust in developing Penix further in his development process and to at least give the fans and that organization some hope of he could be the guy. But it's a big year because if he does well this year, at least you have the notion of, okay, we can give him the 5th-year option, but we still need to see more depending on how well he makes a jump.
Yeah.
And I think Tua is going to put up a fight. I've said for years I've never been the biggest Tua fan because, not just because he was a Miami Dolphin, I know what he was at Alabama. When he has great talent around him, like Nick Saban did, yeah, he's good. But can he beat the teams that are on par with talent or better?
Yeah.
And he did not do well against the elite competition, whether it was Georgia in the SEC championship game in 2018, whether it was LSU in 2019. He did not do well in either Clemson in the national championship. And then in the pros, Buffalo, he stunk it up last week of the season to get in the playoffs.
Yep.
In Tennessee, blew that game, got dominated that game, destroyed. And then in the playoffs against Kansas City in Arrowhead, you were awful.
Yeah, that was
awful games. So, again, I know what I've seen from Tua. He can't beat the big names, like you said, big teams. I've been saying it for years on this show since I've done it. Penix, I give the edge to because, for me, I think he has a little bit more of a sense where I think he will fit better with what Stefanski wants to do because he can be a drop back quarterback. He does have a slightly better arm than Tua does, and I think that for him, when he's healthy, he's good. And I think we saw it a little bit 2 years ago when they did start him late. It's just Atlanta didn't have the pieces around him.
No.
So I'm going to go with Penix for the reason of I think he's the better fit for Stefanski, and if he's healthy, they're going to want to see what they can get the most out of him for heading into 2026. This defense, though, I think is underrated when I look at this group. And Jeff Ulbrich is a hell of a defensive coordinator. With the Jets, he always had really good units. Atlanta shocked a lot of people with how well they played. I mean, especially with some upset wins at home against the Bills, against the Rams. So this defense, to me, I don't think we're talking enough about them. Like, Brendan Dorless is a good defensive lineman in Ulbricht's scheme. Deshaun Hand is the nose tackle with Mason Smith. I hope I'm saying it right. Okay. Zach Harrison's the other defensive end. But then this linebacker group.
The linebacker group's
nuts. Is really nice. Like Jalen really Walker from Georgia was, if you saw tape, he was flashing off the screen.
Yep.
Okay. Divine Diablo, Christian Harris, James good Pierce, inside linebackers. Channing Tindall, I remember from Georgia. He's more of a role player now, but Harold Perkins can work his way up. Okay. James Pierce, if he stays out of trouble.
Yes.
He is
off the field issue.
He is a disruptive pass rusher.
I was going to say that this could be easily, like, I would say top 5 linebacker group in the league. If they hit the strides, off the field stuff, they look solid.
Like, this is, like, to me, maybe a top 3 edge room. And I talked about the Chargers last week. Like, the Chargers have a good mix of veteran and young guys.
Yep.
These guys have a good linebacker overall group as far as inside, outside, pass rush, run defender, coverage. But because they're so deep, it's like, how do you blitz with them? Like, you know, good. But it's a good problem to have.
I know it's a good problem to have. Too many, like, I would say, assets on your team for sure. It's like, how can we utilize this guy to the fullest potential?
Like Ibukam, Ojolari, Pierce, good speed rushers. Jalen Walker is that physical run stuffer, but he can be a power rusher as well. Diablo and Harris are good coverage, run stuffing linebackers, right? But even the secondary, like, it's better than most people are giving him credit for. AJ Terrell is a very underrated corner when we're talking about the top corners in the
guys,
league.
yeah, he's
just not talked about because Atlanta's been
terrible.
Jesse Bates, a very good safety. Xavier Watts was in the Rookie of the Year voting. And then you've got Avion Terrell if he can work his way into the starting lineup. And then Mike Hughes right now is the starting outside corner with AJ Terrell. And then Billy Bowman Jr. is the nickel. This group is, to me, like they could be a top 15 defense again. Maybe better.
I would say the only weak point of this whole defense is the tackles. I would say.
Yeah, the defensive line. Yeah, but Dorless is good. Hand, he's familiar maybe with.
Which I'm surprised they didn't go after, or they didn't at least buff up in free agency the D line.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we'll see what happens. I guess they like something that we don't see, but this is a very underrated defense for sure.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a unit that could be a top 10 team in sacks as to how well they have so many rotational pass rushers that they can provide, and that could be just disruptive. But to me, it's just winnable division. Can they find the ways to maximize what they do have and try to get into the postseason? So now let's get to their schedule, which this is where it comes down to can they win enough games to win this division.
Yes.
At Pittsburgh, game 1.
I would say yes.
You think that's a win?
Yeah.
I'm leaning Pittsburgh right now.
Okay. I think they can win that.
But that is a coin flip game.
As a coin flip game.
I'm going to say they lose against Pitt. I'm going to say the Panthers at home, they win. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
At Green Bay, I can't go to say they'll win that. I'm going to say 1-2.
All right.
1-3, they're going to lose at the Saints on a Monday night. Because New Orleans, I just did the Saints. They are better, and I don't think we're talking about how well they played the last third quarter of the season. And I know that could go either way.
All right.
But I'm going to say 1-3.
Okay.
1-4 because they're losing to the Ravens week 5. Although they will make them sweat a little bit. Chicago, okay, see, this is where Atlanta stole some wins last year that they were not supposed to win. Chicago might be that game. The Niners, they will be. I think they'll beat the Niners.
Their next couple of games are rough in this stretch.
Yes. At Tampa, they lose. So I'm going to say 3-5 right now in this stretch. Overseas against the Bengals, I'm going to say 3-6. Home for the Chiefs. They're not beating the Chiefs. I mean, that'll be closer than most people.
Okay.
Because I remember 2 years ago, they got robbed in that game. But I'll save it. 3-7. Okay. At Minnesota.
I think they beat.
They could beat the Vikings. All right, let's just say 4-7. They're not beating the Lions 4-8. At Cleveland 5-8. At your team, which
I think they're going to beat us. We beat them last time, but they're going to beat us this time for sure.
I gave you guys a win in our episode on there, so I'll say.
I would say
I'm gonna say 5-9.
Okay.
I think they beat Tampa. They beat New Orleans. I think they'll split there, and then at Carolina, which is where they'll lose. So I have them somewhere 7-10.
All right. Okay.
Like I think
I'm in the same area as well too. I think they're going to be third place in their division.
That makes sense. So 7-10. You're with me on that record?
I would say so. I would say around the same exact thing.
All right. Which brings us to our offseason grades. I'm going to go to you first. What is your grade for the Falcons offseason?
I would give them an A-.
A-?
I would say an A- for retaining their key players. I would say retaining their key players.
Okay.
Getting a solid draft picks. The only problem I didn't like was not addressing the D-line. That backup quarterback was terrible. The receiving core, I would say A-. Thinking about it, probably B+ now. I would go B+. B+ for not addressing some key areas.
We are not anywhere close. We are not anywhere close.
I am big on the Falcons this year. This is, I don't know. I think that's a solid grade, B+. You don't think? No.
Okay. They are one of the top 5 biggest losers of the offseason.
What?
Yes. Let me hear. Okay.
Go for it.
You look at this division. New Orleans didn't add much, but they are a little better than they were last year. And New Orleans was considered the basement of the division. Now, they may have a quarterback. Carolina went to the playoffs, got a little bit better on defense, which they sucked at last year. Tampa Bay is still, I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they are still the team right now that is the favorite in this division. And I know they lost Evans. They are still roster-wise better. And Atlanta has the worst QB situation in that division. They did not get a wide receiver too, which to me is the biggest hole on this roster, aside from the QB competition itself. The defensive line, I think they'll be able to do away with. I trust Ulbrich to fix that. This is a C for me.
What?
This is, yes, I'm glad they did Kyle Pitts and they did Drake London. That's about the 2 good things they did. Where did this team improve drastically? In a division that's winnable. It's wide open.
I think the Falcons are going to be the underdog. I think they're going to be third, but I wouldn't be surprised if they...
I like Stefanski.
I'm surprised I wouldn't be surprised if they clinch it.
I like Stefanski. I do. And again, they have the talent to win this division, but I left looking at this roster and looking at what they did. They could have did much more to make this team the favorite in the division with Tampa. They left a lot out there where I'm like, you don't have a 2 to help Drake London? Brian Robinson Jr. is your backup to Bijan? Stefanski wants to run multiple running backs in his offense.
I guess so.
He loves using his tight ends with Cleveland. He loved using his tight ends. This defense is definitely really good, but you're like, where is the piece that makes them right there with Tampa Bay? And I'm saying they don't have any of those key pieces that are right there with Tampa. But this roster is good and can certainly win this division wide open. But I'm going with a C. I like the Stefanski move. I like the extensions of Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I think the quarterbacks, they're both just okay. Like, no one's going to move the needle. You're banking on them to win 7 games as a ceiling, not as a high 9-10, which would solidify that division.
But I think the offseason was solid. I think it was solid.
You give him a B+. I mean, listen.
But was it A-?
You lucky Uncle Al ain't here, because I would be scared to hear his offseason grade in Atlanta. That's Uncle Al level.
That was
back,
an Uncle
okay?
Al pick.
Okay, but I'm going to C. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not going.
All right.
All right. So that is it for the Atlanta Falcons 2026 offseason grade. Comment down below what your grade would be if you disagree. I've heard my fair share of it. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that way you guys can get all the latest content as we begin the second half of the 2026 offseason grade series. You do not want to miss it out, especially until late August when the preseason show comes out, where I will give my Super Bowl 61 prediction and winner and playoff teams. You can also follow me at LoungeTimePod on X. Yes, I tweeted recently about some NFL broadcasting news changes of Tony Romo taking a leave temporary.
We know why.
We know why, yes. But I will be active for Patriots preseason games where I'll be tweeting, so don't worry, I'll be tweeting. But if you have a question for the show, tweet at me and I will answer it on the show live. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next episode of 2026 Offseason Grades.